This is Team D's presentation of their report on the analysis of anti-forensic techniques with regard to the Hoare Research UK case. This is Team D with 2192245N, 2425523L, and 2393558P. Hoare Research UK had a supposed former employee steal and release data to the public for personal gain. The employee argued that rather than personal gain, it was instead for public interest. He does not deny the action, but rather suggests that it is in the interest of the public that they have access to it. HR UK state that the data was exfiltrated through the use of anti-forensic techniques. However, if it had not been released by them, the source code would have been released eventually under the Freedom of Information Act. Concerned that they do not have sufficiently strong evidence to suggest the software engineer would smuggle data in the manner suggested by HR UK, representatives are unsure of the legal arguments in the specific situation regarding the source code, intellectual property rights, and freedom of information. Data destruction, otherly known as artifact wiping, is used to attempt data sanitization, the process of deliberately and irreversibly removing or destroying data stored on memory, as well as dismantling and otherwise making it unusable to the investigative process. A physical crime scene example could be pouring bleach in blood to destroy the DNA, whereas in the technical world this could be overwriting the file to obliterate it. There is a variety of open source tools that exist for the purpose of data sanitization, wiping slack, and unallocated spaces, such as BC Wipe, Eraser, and PGP Wipe. In the scenario of the case study, if the company investigators were to get hold of the supposed removable media that's been used but couldn't find data on it due to data destroying, it would prove difficult to them to show that this removable media contained smuggled data or not. Overall, artifact wiping is less time-consuming and more efficient than other anti-forensic techniques, but there are existing limitations. Data wiping tasks and deleting data from file system structures both prove to be challenging.
Steganography is the technique of hiding secret data within an ordinary, non-secret file or message in order to avoid detection. The secret data is then extracted at its destination. Steganography is practiced by those wishing to convey a secret message or code. While there are many legitimate uses for steganography, malware developers have also been found to use steganography to obscure the transmission of malicious code. The use of steganography can be combined with encryption as an extra step for hiding or protecting data. Steganography can be used to conceal almost any type of data content, including text, image, video, or audio content. The data to be hidden can be hidden inside almost any other type of digital content. One such media that can be used in bitmap is bitmap images. Bitmap images are graphical images which can act as a container to store up to 100 bits. The representation of the bitmap image is divided into small boxes, namely bitmap file header, bitmap info header, RGB quad, and colored index, where each box stores the value of the intensity of the color called pixels. The technique used to store message in an image is called least significant bit steganography, also called LSB. In bitmap images, the message can be stored in the LSB of one of the color in the entire RGB value. Bitmap image has higher capacity to store data and hence is more applicable. Bitmap LSB is majorly utilized to transfer large amount of information where the intruder cannot grab the information which is being transferred. Counterfeit evidence means producing fake evidence to convince the investigator. It also involves creating one's own evidence by precise formatting or generating new information to act as potential evidence. One of the most prominent instances of counterfeit evidence is manipulation of timestamps, that is, change the modification, access, and creation timestamps of a particular file or folder. Many attackers may also set the name of the file such that it cannot be found by normal search methods, that is, by using special characters. Regarding images, an attacker might first manipulate the image and then hide the history to avoid detection. Counterfeit evidence is generally created to mislead the investigation process. Eliminating sources of evidence means nullifying the resources to examine the evidence. There are multiple attempts which can lead to clearing the evidence. It can be done in multiple forms. Eliminating sources can be achieved by manipulating computer and network settings or changing the registry. Manipulating the operating system's policy will cease the logging of user activities, clearing disks, and will delete all the traces of data on the hard drive. Most of the times, users try to transfer the information by connecting a USB to transfer documents. However, this gets logged in the Windows registry. Thus, the user might click a photograph of the information or use a compact disk. Trying to eliminate sources can also lead to a suspect who has knowledge to exploit anti-forensic tools, which narrows down the list of potential attackers.
The main concern that arises regarding the aforementioned case study is whether it is possible for someone to exfiltrate data through a bitmap image. We believe that that's a yes. One way this can be achieved is through a method that's called steganography. Steganography can be performed within media like video, audio, or image. As it has been mentioned earlier, steganography is the method with which someone can encrypt a message within an audio, image, or video file. In most of the cases, the receiver cannot distinguish if their file has been processed with this method or not, so suspicions are not caused. Although it's not the best anti-forensics technique, steganography can be detected by using programs like StegDetect, XTeg, or StegWatch. Finally, if there are different bytes between the images, then the image has most probably been processed using steganography techniques, as you can see in the image on the left. Finally, the main question is, did the former software engineer would have indeed exfiltrated data? We believe that HRUK's accusations are not unrealistic. Although it is illegal, the engineer could have indeed exfiltrated data and source code through bitmap images by using the aforementioned technique. Following the previous statements and discussion about the steganography, we believe that it's totally viable for the engineer to have exfiltrated data by HRUK for his personal gain. Also, we should not forget that the engineer did not deny the fact that he accessed sensitive data through the organization's machines. Instead, he tried to channel the reason, explaining that it was not for his personal gain, but for public interest. Moreover, the employee's concern about system accuracy shows that they access the source code of the organization, otherwise they would not be able to do the appropriate adjustments. Also, if the employee was concerned about the public interest, they could communicate with prescribed bodies that have been formed especially for such occasions where public interest is in danger. Finally, the organization is susceptible in releasing such source code under the Freedom of Information Act. That means that they did not have any intention of distributing the code yet. So, the engineer got the code illegally.
To conclude, within our report, we have discussed all four anti-forensic techniques: data destroying, data wiping, counterfeit evidence, and eliminating sources of evidence. In the case of Hawes Research UK, data wiping was the main anti-forensic technique in use, as the supposed smuggling involved using bitmap imaging and steganography in order to encrypt the message within media, in this case, the removable media. It was shown in the final slides that as a team, we believe that it could be possible that the smuggling and stealing of data took place and the idea is feasible. Due to the use of anti-forensic techniques, the element that they did not dismiss the idea of smuggling, and the employees' existing concerns surrounding system accuracy. However, as stated, there are other resources available to employees in these types of situations, and due to their lack of use of those, they now run a risk with the law.